What up? What up? Shout out to everybody in the chat room, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the moderators. Shout out to all the supporters. You dig? We was running a little late, but we got it fixed. And thank you for your patience. And we still waiting on Ron Wills to pop up, but he'll be here any minute now. Um, let me introduce my guest really quick. Y'all know cousin Tita. He's no stranger to he's no stranger to the platform either. You know what I'm saying? Good brother. He always coming through with some fresh heat, fresh new perspective on things from his experience. So, we appreciate all the knowledge that we can take over here. You dig? He's definitely a friend of the Dime Game Division. You dig? And he's also a PNC, partner of crime with the Self Improvement Summits. You know what I'm saying? November 7th. You know what I mean? Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, once again. We're going to set it off, you dig? So any questions, you can email myself and, we'll square you away. But, yeah, Cousin T-Tom, man, you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the people again, man.
Well, first of all, as always, it's a pleasure being here. Shout out to the Dom Game Division. Shout out to the moderators. They always do a great job. This is always a great opportunity to chop up good game and just exchange our experiences and our thoughts just as a collective. And that's really what allows this thing to grow and to keep evolving, because evolution is always the key. The more we do this, the more we, share our thoughts and put those collections together, collections of experiences together. It makes our content better for the public, our content better for ourselves, and ultimately increases the value that we provide to this space. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Matter of fact, while we waiting on Ron Wills to get here, we can just have a little small talk really quick. Look, man, let's start with this, man. It's a lot of people that don't really know what the self-improvement summits are about. They don't really understand the vision. Um, and, obviously, it's one of them things you got to be there to know what's going on. You can't be on the sideline trying to speculate and all that type of shit. But really, overall, man, it's really the vision is just doing a one-stop shop, man, with guys that have did a certain amount of living, guys from different backgrounds and different regions and just different age groups and things of that nature that we can all come together in fellowship and harmony, man, in one place. And first and foremost, we can give out some good information, some life experiences, some hardcore data, some facts, some practical tools that people can use, for their everyday life. Um, that's what's going on. But really, man, what happened last time is was amazing, because once you get the brothers in one room, once everybody get there and the energy is positive, man, you kind of come out of that thing leaving refreshed, and you kind of get a just a recharge for your batteries, man, to get out into the world and to tackle the things that you started prior, or to start new ventures and to start new things that you always wanted to get to. So that was like a blessing in disguise. I know after the first one, um, man, I was high for like a month, man, just riding that same energy that the brothers brought to DC with them. Excuse me, you dig? And also, what happened last time was a couple dudes they wanted to bring their wives or girlfriends or significant others, and I
Mm-hmm.
even had a couple female subscribers that was interested in coming. So I thought, why not? What I mean, going forward, allowing women to come, because we're not just there just teaching men how to mac on women. And nah, like I said, you got to be there to understand the information that's coming out. Women will be brought up, but overall, it's just about being better people. And sometimes you need to get around better people to be better people. is sometimes like you need to get around positive energy. And also, even for the guys that don't really get out much or leave the house that much, that'll give them an excuse to put some clothes on and come out and just fellowship and just socialize, man. A lot of times we take that for granted, but everybody don't have a support system, as far as friends and associates that they can go out with and feel safe when they have a good time. So, it also provides that as well. It's like, dog, throw on your hard bottoms and let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Right. You said a few things that really hit home, and like I always say, I always try to refer to uh, wiser men, elders, and and thinking about what these events and what the summit really did. Just going in line with what you just said, the fellowshipping and what it does for energy. A lot of people don't really realize that the energy that takes place in a space like that comes from the collection of experiences, and it comes from us feeding off of each other and feeding off of the energy of the group that assembles during that space. And I was trying to think about a word that sums up like what happens, what you take away, and what it can be referred to overall. And one of my elder friends, he was talking about something, and he just mentioned his word. I'm like, that is the exact thing that this is the example of the summit. It's called the revival. And I was like, yeah, that's the perfect word. Now, not to take it, too far into like the religious category or whatever, but when you talk about energy and what you take away from an experience like this, you are revitalized, you are energized. And the best way that this can be summed up as is a revival. And what's interesting is that you presenting more than one in the span of a year, I'm going to say that's unprecedented. Let's be clear. A lot of presenters and a lot of hosts who put on events like this, they tend to do one a year. And so if this trend continues, you have to refer to them as cycles. So we had cycle one, this will be cycle two, and and the energy will keep building momentum on into the future. So it's no doubt a special thing.
Well, I mean, the overall vision is I want to do one every quarter. So that'll be 4 times a year. Lord willing, it's not always going to be like that. Obviously, with COVID, that really set things back. But now we back on track and trying to build the steam and the momentum back behind it. So ultimately, man, that's really the vision. And the touchdown each region, each city, each part of the country, and even overseas with this shit, man. That's the bigger vision for it. So like I say, man, we going back to the nation's capital, and so the next one I'm thinking either New York, LA, or Atlanta. So we'll see, but yeah, I think revival is a great word. Just an overall experience. Um, because a lot of times in life, man, we pour into other people so much. What I mean, we give so many other people, our time, our energy, our efforts and things like that, but it's always good to have other people pouring to you too. What I mean? So you
Right.
just kind of keep that balance going on, especially as men, excuse me, if you're really doing the right thing out here, man, and you got influence over certain things, in your life and the lives of other people, man, then you need other people, other men, other wise men and greater men to pour into you. And that's how you keep this thing going. It's not all about, taking, 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 you know. So, yeah, my thing is, man, you know, um, just getting with good brothers, man, and keeping positive energy, man. It really helped me out in my personal life as well. I can say for damn sure I walked out of there with some recharged batteries. and I was able to tackle some things I might have been procrastinating about or just not even thinking about. But as I left, I was just rejuvenated, man. You know what I'm saying? My libido was working a little better for some reason, man. The Dom games was extra proper after that. I couldn't realize what it was, but yeah, like the energy was flowing through. So you know how they say you can't pour new wine into old wine skins, man. So sometimes, man, we gotta shed that, build it back up, and all the new knowledge, all the new information, you pour it into that, and you should start to see dividends in your life, man. I don't see a reason why a man shouldn't. And like I say, man, we welcome for if guys want to bring their wives, guys want to bring their significant others, that's an experience that both of them could sit through and like remember that could be just the finishing touch that a relationship could need to go either to that next level or to fix, a few things that's been broken. Sometimes you need to go do some things, you know what I mean?
So yeah, I was gonna ask you. I know we briefly touched on it in a different conversation, but I was gonna ask you what was your lead motivation for opening up this next session to be co-ed, to include women in the space.
That was it right there. I thought it would be a good situation. Like I say, guys hit me up. A couple dudes was like, "Yo, can I bring my girlfriend? Can I bring my wife?" And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I wanted to see how the first one went, but when I realized that the information could be used by women, it could be used for couples, it could be used for marriages, it could be used for overall wellness and better living. I said, you know what? Okay, this will be a great place where couples can come and rejuvenate, man. You dig what I'm saying? So um, that's my thing with it, man. It's just all about um, just putting things in perspective, man. So I welcome a man if you want to bring his girlfriend, if you want to bring his wife. I welcome that wholeheartedly because I think we need more of that too, man. Because if you think about it, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but if we think about, back when marriage was real popular in our community, um, back when you know, the marriage rates were higher, it wasn't just a couple per se that kept the marriage and the relationship together. It was the community, it was the church, it was the schools, it was everybody that backed them up. Because two people on their own, let's be real, um, it's very hard to keep a marriage together. You know what I mean? If you're working off your own strength, but when you got a community backing you up, when you got the fellas backing up the husband, like dog, you gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna make sure you do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And when you got the women and the fellas backing up the wife, like, look, we gonna make sure you do the right thing, but I got my eyes on you too to make sure you doing the right motherfucking thing. It's all good. So you need communities to back up, couples. You know what I mean? Marriages and things of that nature. And I welcome that. See what I'm saying? Wholeheartedly. But we'll discuss that in a later time. We was just having some small talk you know before the
The field master.
field match got here. So we're gonna welcome Rom, everybody, to the Dime Game Division, man, into the chat room, and y'all, show them some love. And hey, Rom, man, introduce yourself to the folks. You know what I'm saying? Wholeheartedly. But we'll discuss that in a later time. We was just having some small talk.
Hey, what's up? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all jumped on a little early. I was just finishing up some stuff. I stay busy and everything.
Mhm.
But y'all know who I am, Ron Wills. Y'all know me from my channel. Got several books out, just promoting men becoming the best version of themselves. I mean, people know I talk about select and non-select, but those are just diagnostic tools. It's all about becoming not even so much as select, but a real man, a superior man. So it's about moving up. Because even in my books, even for select men, I got something to move them up because really those concepts are a lot deeper than people realize, especially in Western culture. Especially in Western culture, because even when you are that man who gets a lot of women, there's still something that you can improve on. There's so many jacked up things, but
Well, we can get into it real quick because I don't think you ever. I mean, I I know you spoke on it in your video, and I'm gonna be honest. I haven't did it any justice because I think at one point um, it got weaponized. I'll say that the select
oh yeah,
got weaponized, and um, I, I never wanted that to happen. And I think, just from lack of time, people being lazy, they just started throwing out select and putting it on anything and non-select on anything. And they didn't really know the definition coming from you, and I think everybody started to put their own twist on it. Well, no, it should mean this and it should mean that. But like even myself, not only did I hear it coming from you, but man, Rom, I went back and I checked out um, um, Master Yao.
mm-hmm.
And I went back to see what he had to say. So I wanted to get to the origin just to make sure that I was following it correct. So just coming from your mouth, man, like you can give a brief, just summary of what select and non-select means, so we can just put it to bed and we can proceed with the procedures.
Well, it's not that deep. It's not that deep because the actual terms originally came from Master Yao, and then some of the terms I just added to it. As far as getting deeper into the terms he originally came up with, because I had, even before I met him, I'd been saying the same thing. I just used different terms. He just sped my research up by maybe 2 years. And even then, there was certain terms, like in the select group, he talks about Mr. Goodbar and the masked man. I actually dipped deeper into the Mr. Goodbar concept, which a lot of, like in recent years, he's actually used some of the stuff that I did for his thing just to get a better understanding. So when I first heard about it, it was like 1998. So we've been going back and forth. And to be clear, when we say select, we're talking, this is a sexual hierarchy. It's a sexual hierarchy. It's in terms of the men that women want to have sex with. When I talk about the Mr. Goodbars, those the guys who got that raw sex appeal. And just, for all these black pill people, all of them ain't necessarily classically handsome, but they have sex appeal. Women want to have sex with these guys. Those are Mr. Goodbars. But then you have the masked men. Those men have their mask is like their material goods, but they still got they actually have to be in better physical shape than the Goodbars. They the ones, like, if you look at society, what does society say? A list of what men have to have, right? He gotta be so tall, so this, he gotta have so much money. These are the men who can wear that mask, and even then they gotta struggle, but they still get a little bit of attention until women get past that mask. That's what's happening with a lot of these celebrities and stuff. They had all that money, but then the women saw past that mask, they ready to go. They ain't liking what they seeing. And then the non-select guys, women just ain't checking for them. And it's only because they don't turn the women on sexually or have a lot of cultural stuff that is in there. That's it. Because a lot of it is cultural too. A lot of it is cultural. It's not just like, I'll be hearing some people say, oh, well, it's these guys that a certain height. Somebody could be a certain height, but if they not turning that woman on sexually, boom, like you get some, or even with the face thing. Sometimes if a guy looks a certain way, but he don't look like he can fuck, they ain't thinking about him. Now they might deal with him if he got some money and have a mask, but trust me, like I've known of instances where women were with a guy who was making money, but then cheating with some dude who might have a gold tooth or something like that. Might not even look as good as the guy with the money. But it's about that sex thing. See, that's the whole thing. That's when we get down to it, it's strictly a sexual thing. A lot of guys talk about all this stuff. If it don't have anything to do with sex, it don't have anything to do with select and non-select, period. And even then, when I even say non-select, everything in my book that you were showing was all about how a man can become select. Like one thing I can't stand is when men embrace that shit. Don't embrace that shit. That's a diagnostic tool. If you there, we giving you the way to get to the select. And it ain't just based off my personal experiences, because I've been seeing that shit without having a term for it since I was little. You saw which guys were getting the pussy. And it wasn't always just guys just had the body. That's a key piece. Or the looks. Sometimes it was just an attitude. You got some cats out there, they just cool as shit, and women like be lined up to suck their dicks. Wait, how raw can I get on here, man?
Man, let's get to it, man. I mean, over here, we push you to the limit. So let's go. We push you to the limit, man.
Oh, okay. No, but seriously, that's what it is. And I do hear different people trying to say, well, it should be this, should be that. Which one getting the women wet? That's what they do, seriously. And then, we talk about the sexual underworld. Oh, that's where I really saw some shit, because I wasn't introduced to it at first until like early 90s. I was working out for, I'll just say, a government position. And I saw a difference. Like, women had put me in the friend zone before. Dude, you ever go out with the woman, both you get is like like one of those hugs and stuff. All I did was change my body. And then that same woman was doing some vile stuff. There's about 3 or 4 women like that. Went out, they had no play, no parts of the pussy. And then, all I did was just get my body tighter. All of a sudden, they were doing vile shit. In fact, one of them even told me, he said, your body tighter now. So it was like, oh, wait a minute. And the scary thing about that, before then, I had a lot of stuff that a lot of people would pay for. I ain't have a problem approaching women. And I was still getting dates with some very attractive women. But let's just say my kill rate was not as high as it could have been.
And I can appreciate that. That description perfectly sort of sums up why I was so interested in just differentiating the select manosphere from other spaces, because with the you described the journey, you described the path that a lot of men, one, don't know about, 2, are confused about whether or not they would qualify for, or 3, once they get beyond that barrier, once they go from non-select to pre-select, or even from pre-select to select, now what? There's a whole other level, and there's an entire world to navigate for men. And that's why I wanted to make sure that there was a specific space for those guys, because most guys don't understand about managing a roster. Most guys don't even have that concept in their mind. But let them hit the gym for 6 months. Let them, perform the maintenance, the grooming protocols that C-Boogie often puts out there. He'll start to notice that his SMV or his ranking or whatever increases. But with that increase in his arousal or his attractiveness to women at the primal level comes a whole other level of situations. I mean, women grabbing you, women. So there's so many examples of, that I can relate working in different spaces, especially in corporate America, where women feel entitled to your body. I know that sounds crazy, right? Especially right. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. For guys who know, especially guys who work in different office settings, which is why I made sure I put the Office Fuck File video series out there and also included it in the book, because what guys don't realize is that when you put in the work and you put yourself in a position to be pre-select or in the select category, the entire way that women view you and the way that men view you too, because now, and I was going to put a video out about this soon. Now you've got people that follow you. Now you got people that watch your mannerisms. They watch how you dress. They watch your activity. As soon as you enter a space, you're on people's radar. How do you manage that? How do you play that down in order to get what you're there done to do? You can sway a woman's opinion just based on how you present to her. And the average man has no clue that that's even a thing, let alone most women feeling entitled to your body, which is something that's confusing to most guys. And I know you got experience with that. Women just, when you walk into a space, how you doing? Hey, they don't meet you with the church hug. No, They meet you feeling on your pecs. They're feeling on your shoulders and arms and all kinds of things. Let alone, don't let them catch you alone in a copy room or a corner.
Man, I remember I was telling some people in my private group how when I was in a grocery store one time and a woman just let me in front of her, and all of a sudden she rubbing my back. Like, I'm like, it felt good though, so that's just too much. But I was like, wow, yeah, you do get that though. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something now. See, I got all this going. Believe it or not, I try to go out bummy when I'm trying to get shit done, man, just to like deflect attention. And like I know young ladies, old ladies at different stores around here. You'd be surprised how touchy they are. I remember I was at one grocery store, the general manager barely knew me, was reaching for a hug and whatnot. I was like, okay. It was kind of good because she was telling me when stuff was coming in, especially when this virus started. She told me when the cleaning stuff was coming in. She said, yeah, be here on this day at this time. So this was like, and I'm older now, man. I ain't even like trying hard with all of this. That's why I keep trying to tell these guys, because that's what I saw. Because before I really hit the gym, I thought it was all about the money and the prestige, and I was in school, and I had extra money. It was going out, taking these women out, church hug, and it did afterwards. I wasn't doing shit for them, and like I said, they were doing vile shit. And let's just say one of my favorites was a woman that looked just like Nia Long. I was like, oh shit. If you ever seen Nia Long, she looked just like Nia Long did in Boys in the Hood.
All right.
When I saw it, I was like, what?
Listen, I got a Nia Long story. I'll save it for later. But yeah,
that's one of my favorites.
I know. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna be careful with it. I know. See, we get a little sensitive about it, but
that's one of my favorites, man.
She came to Chicago one time. That's all I gotta say. Anyway,
women, man, they got a factory down there on how to suck a dick, man. I swear to God, they got a factory in Trinidad on how to suck a dick good. I'm just like, wow, seriously, it ain't nothing but you be like, whoa, sound like Luther and whatnot, man.
Right.
Seriously, I ain't gonna lie. I give it to him. Be like, shoot. Trinies, man. Any Trinies in the chat, any female, hit me up.
Hilarious.
It's something down there. I don't know what it is. Some training. I don't know what they do down there. Every single training woman I've been with, I'm like, seriously.
But the thing about it is, it doesn't even matter what your background is or what class you come from, and I'm very specific about including class. That's why I put it.
Yeah.
I include that in my podcast. I included it in the book, and I included it in the conversation. I'm a firm believer in class because different people bring different value to the table. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about select, pre-select, and non-select, that cuts across. Classes. And I mean, honestly, the type of woman or the caliber of woman that you can interact with, she wants to exchange value, and I know we'll touch on that in a minute. But when you bring the select essence, that masculine mastery to the space, it doesn't matter what class a woman is from. She can be a 92, she can be a 100, she can be an 89 or whatever. The exchange is that energy, and that raw primal energy is priceless. That's the first level. Okay, that's just the ground level. The initial agreement with a select man and a woman that is desirous of his company is that them just being in the same space is enough of an exchange. Whereas a non-select or a man who isn't as knowledgeable will think that he has to pay or to bring some type of monetary value in exchange for her presence. Whereas with a select man or pre-select man, just you being there is enough of exchange for attractive women.
Well, exactly. Well, two things I want to hit on first, but let me shout out Selector Ja in the comments. He's from Trini. He's a Trini. He knows. Even the dudes down there, some players. But what you were saying about the value exchange, notice I said there are two types of guys in the select. They're the Mr. Good bars, but then there's the material men. But having money isn't the only thing. They got to have some level of sex appeal and know how to work it. And they ain't giving up any money either, believe it or not. They might partially attract the women with their money, but they know how to work it. And because they'll use their money to create their own world, and the woman will want to be a part of that. And she will do what she can. He's running stuff. In fact, truly what I would call a masked man in that world, their game is such, yeah, they got all that money, but they might get her a latte if she's cool. They might. But they ain't taking on anything until she gives up the panties or something, and she shows that she's on his program. He ain't gonna walk out and spend $500 on it, because as soon as I hear a guy talking about how much he spent, I say he non-select. Because a woman, you know it better than most people in this sector. You know, if a woman want to be with you, she'll spend her money. In fact, she'll stop you. She will stop you and spend the money. And shoot, they will even take you out on a date or ask you out. I remember I went out with a young girl, and BGS know exactly who I'm talking about. She insisted on paying. I was like, oh, you don't have to pay. I'll get it. She was like, no. She was almost ready to fight me because she had wanted to spend that time in my space.
Right. It's almost like an insult.
Yeah. They try to give it away. You don't even need them. Look, if I always say, if you're going to make money, make it for yourself, to create your world, to create your environment. Put that money into your space, make it nice, you know, got the colors, got the nice smells and everything. When she come over, she dripping wet as soon as she walk in. She be like, oh, this your place. Shoot. In fact, if you really got it, she'll come over with nothing on but a trench coat and some high heels or something. I know y'all done had that. Y'all done had that, though. They come over no panties on or anything. I had one woman come over no panties, and she said, well, what if I took my time with it? She said, I would have been highly disappointed. She came over ready, dripping wet. But that's how it is.
Right. And that's
even to this day. Because I'm 55. People don't know how much I get down. I've sent y'all some pictures. Oh, I got another. Hey, I might have another one, but I might have to fly her out from California. See, Boogie, we gotta get that joint going in LA. I already had the partner ready. I just had to wait for her to deal with some, I'll say some marital issues she had to put to the side. She had to leave. So I was being cool because there was property involved. But now that's all done with. I'm like, shit. I'm about to holler at her. So it might, yeah, I go get into it here. I already told you behind the scenes.
LA coming, man. LA coming. LA,
man.
Yeah. Got a couple in LA. Got a couple in LA. Real talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
West Coast showing a lot of love, but yeah, man. My thing is, man. You know, I be hearing a lot of shit about dudes be having certain kind of issues with women, and you know, it seems to me, man, that you know, a lot of dudes, man, they ultimately probably dealing with women that's not, you know, necessarily sexually attracted to them. You know, and you know, if that's the case, or she on the fence with that, you know, and you know, your personality is kind of off-putting a little bit, dog. That's going to create major issues, man. You know, if a female is really feeling a man, she's going to make it very accessible, man.
Well, exactly. Hey, and one thing, Boogie, one thing you've been doing lately is really telling these guys, look, a lot of guys be messing up. I mean, because a lot of guys still caught up in the looks and, well, just the looks, just the face. But really, if you get the package together, that's just the bait. That gives you an extra minute once they approach. They want to hear what you got out of your mouth. You got to spit that game. That's what they look for. That's the hook. The bait is just your appearance. You get that hook. You start talking to them. You make them smile. You make them teethy. And you know how you know. See, Boogie, you know how they do. They ready shoot. They'll bring over the French toast ready to make it.
And do you see how comfortable you are with explaining that? That's the difference between, and that's the difference in mentality and energy that a select man or pre-select man brings to a space as opposed to a non-select man. Now, in our conversations, we definitely include non-select men or men who would classify themselves or be classified as non-select to show them that it's possible to develop, to grow, and to go on that journey of masculine mastery. Because at the end of the day, we're almost speaking a different language in terms of what our worldview is, how we view man gets woman, how we view the mating and dating space. And see, Boogie, as you mentioned earlier, how some men choose to journey into, you know, exclusive relationships, partnerships, marriage, however you want to express it. But choice is one of the most important subjects that I would want to bring up in terms of the benefits of self improvement, the benefits of developing yourself to the pre-select and select space. Is when you are in a space of a select man or pre-select man, you have choice. And what that comes down to is uh, having an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset. Because when you have a scarcity mindset, that can be a downward negative spiral. And when you're in a negative space, you don't have much to contribute to the collective. And at the end of the day, we come from a culture of contributors. One of our phrases is show and prove. You know, what do you have to bring to the space? If you're not developed enough in your journey, in your masculine journey, to know what your producer value is, because you're not coming from a space of, you know, a negative downward spiral or a space of lack, a space of scarcity. You're abundantly going to have something to contribute to a space, abundantly going to have something to contribute to the energy of a woman, and that's attractive. That adds to your magnetism, and that's what really attracts or arouses a woman in the presence of a select man. It's his confidence. It's the fact that he knows that women are aroused by his presence because he's put in the work, and you know he understands better. Not necessarily just because you're select, that doesn't necessarily make you an expert on how women think, what they want, how to talk to women, but it puts you in that league, it puts you in that lane. It opens up those opportunities so that you can choose the experience that you want to have with the woman. And that's why I talk about select men having a roster. And just because I say a roster does not necessarily mean that you're having sex with all the women that you have in your space. Another thing that select men can appreciate is the feminine energy that women bring to their space. And just because you have women on your roster, meaning women in your space, does not mean that you're having sex with them per se. You can have a feminine friend who you bounce ideas off of. You can have feminine friends who you enjoy that company. You can have a feminine friend that you go out and you take out on the town. You're each other's trophy. You know, you can have a feminine friend as a part of your wingman crew. I mean, we're not even touching the subject of female wingmen. Just you having the confidence and not being thirsty and not just looking at women as, you know, sexual objects. I know that's hard to say, but when you have an abundance mindset, you have an expanded sort of view of the women that you have in your life. Go ahead.
Let me jump in here for a second, man. Thanks for the super chat, C Douglas, and all of super chats that came through while I was muted up. Let me see. Here's my thing. I don't really do them. I understand, the mindsets and everything, but what I never want dudes to do is is to get caught up in trying to just have the mindset. Like either you got options or you don't. Because my experience always told me, man, women know the guys that got options, man. Like they know the guys that can get sex on demand, pretty much. That's one of the reasons why they want to sleep with them and shit. So don't be going around women talking that bullshit if you ain't about it. Like, yeah, well, fuck you. I'm gonna just call my side piece, or I'm gonna call number two, and there's no number two. And she's gonna put you to the test. Like, all right, go ahead. And there's gonna be some lonely Friday night for you if you really don't have these kind of options, man. So, thing is, man, I mean, you got these options or you don't. So, you know, like you always want to be in a position where you do have options and shit. That way, you know, if a woman violates you in a certain kind of way, you don't have to go back and forth with them. And that's quiet as kept. That's one of the reasons why a lot of dudes constantly go back and forth with the same women all the time, because they don't have nothing else at their disposal. Or even for me, you know, I've developed, you know, something that I've you know, been kind of realizing for years, man, where just me knowing that I can walk out the house and bag up something, I can sleep good at night. You see what I'm saying? Like, even if I'm just taking a little hiatus from women, or I'm focusing on my focus, other things, business, whatever, school, you know, my children, you know, if I'm putting all my energy into that, I might not be dealing with a woman at the time. I might just got one woman that we spend time with each other, and I keep pushing. But as long as I know that if I want to get back into on my boogie bullshit is what I call it. If I want to get back on my boogie bullshit, I could just turn that on and everything's a go. You see what I'm saying? Or I can turn it off when I'm focusing on other shit. So, you know, I just wanted to throw that 2 cents in there because I'm like, I've always wanted to make sure to my guys, man, dog, you know, you never want to bullshit with these women because it's fine up until the point where she puts you to the test. And man, some of these women will. And if you can't produce at that moment, you've completely lost the high ground. Completely. You see what I'm saying? And really, I'm at the point in this shit, dog, is even what we call game, right? You know, your presentation of your campaign to women. I'm at the point, man, it ain't even about what's being said at this point. It's about who's saying it. Because us three can go up to the same woman. Like, seriously, us three can go up to the same woman and say the same exact thing. But I could go shoot a dud, nothing go off and shit. T-Talk can go, I mean, she might be entertained. She might sit there like, oh, okay, that was cute. That was cute. Like, you know how some chicks be like, all right,
Exactly.
you get a B for effort. You know, you get a
Get a
B.
sticker. I want a sticker.
Yeah. She give you a little sticker right here. And then Rom can come up to her like Rom just on this ultra smooth shit. Like, look, hold on. Woo. Say the same thing we said, but it just hit. And then all the fireworks go off because it's the power behind those words. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, you know, for me, I don't even too much really focus on what I'm saying all the time. It's just to make sure my presentation and who I am can be translated well to the women. Like, okay, this is my energy. Like, make sure that shit is top notch and making sure she can actually feel where I'm coming from. You see what I'm saying? Opposed to just me making words rhyme and shit. Like, yeah, bitch, you know what I mean? I bag them from Maine to Spain, up and down. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get these tears a few. I don't even talk like that. You see what I'm saying? But I could go up to a woman and say less than 10 words. Excuse me, can I talk to you for a second? Hey, I noticed you, and look, I don't have much time, so can we exchange numbers? I would love to just hang out with you. I think we would enjoy ourselves. But the power behind that could be explosive. You dig?
And you gave you set up the perfect example right there. And when I say the mentality of a select man, the mentality is, but again, it comes with experience. Just like you said, we could all three approach the same woman with the same words in succession. But the difference between a man who has an abundance mindset and a man who has a scarcity mindset is his reaction to rejection. You gave the example of, you know, you can walk up to her. She said, no, thanks. I can walk up to her. I'll get a sticker, but no thanks. And then Rom would just, you know, slide in and be done for the night. Go grab that bottle of Hennessy and it's done. The takeaway is you and I will be the same men after that interaction because we have the experience, we have the repetitions, we have that mentality of, oh, cool, I shot my shot. I you know, next time, hey Rom, good on you, man. But you got that one. Next time though. And that's a whole mentality that I'm talking about. And maybe I should use the word energy. Maybe that'll come across more relatable. But how do you handle rejection? How do you
Yeah.
handle an L? And the L is the learning experience instead of the loss. That's all a part of it.
That's true. Hey, before we go any further, I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, cousin Tito, about having some women that you ain't having sex with. A big part of my money coming in, like on my Connect Pal and stuff, where I got private group, do webinars and all of that, right? It was this rather famous urban model who told me about that. She said, "Oh yeah, check it out." Another site I had, it was another woman who checked me out, and then I got a woman. Well, she don't like me calling her name publicly. Let's just say she's real famous, been in some like major videos and stuff when she was younger back in the day, right? And she was the one who gave me a lot of game on business. Ain't having sex with none of them. See, the thing is, some guys got to realize every woman on your team ain't there for sex. You might have that woman who's just there to like, give you some advice, give you a perspective on other women. And then you might have some women whose sole purpose is, to satisfy you, bring you pleasure, and then you let her go on her way. And then it might be somebody you have whose sole purpose is to go out in public with you. You got several choices, and that's how it should be. And if you have an abundance mindset, if one of them move on for whatever reason, you just say, "Hey, you have a good time. I'm happy for you." In fact, especially if you're dealing with a younger woman, and cousin Tito, you've talked about this, you groom her for the next man. In fact, if we lived in a civilized culture, many of these young women would be groomed by an older man to then get with a man closer to their age to have a family. That gets into some deeper stuff, though.
Absolutely. You just gave like 10 different subjects that you can vibe on. But one thing that really stood out was the eye candy piece. And you see the language that you're using, that language doesn't even come up in certain spaces. That's why it's important to have a space where you can speak freely about the experiences that pre-select men go through, but also a man who transitions on his journey from non-select through pre-select to that select space.
Mm-hmm.
Just the concept of you, the man, being eye candy for a woman. Like a lot of guys can't even process what that even means. That means that your grooming routine, your upkeep, your mentality, your presentation, knowing how to operate at a black tie affair, knowing how to be quiet and just be the silent, mysterious type in a suit or in a casual outfit at a boat party, at a rooftop venue, at her business dinner, her luncheon or whatever, just how to show up and present. That's a whole other space for some men, and having people that they can relate to and refer to for that type of advice and coaching and mentoring, I think is an important resource.
No, you're right about that. You're right about because it is different worlds, and that's something I know intimately, man. That's something I know intimately. You got to be able to roll with the women on the street, but then roll in a fancy environment.
Man, I had
y'all,
this chick,
know what
right?
I'm talking about.
Man, I had this chick, right? It was a quick little vignette, real quick, and I didn't peep what she was doing until we was like, couple weeks into our little soiree we had popping. But she was corporate or whatever, and it was around the time, man, I had just got out the military, and I was just going to college for a time and shit. But I was really working out back then, and so I peeped, because she worked about 5 minutes away from my crib or whatever. You know what I mean? And she was making a lot of money doing what she was doing. She was big in the financial world. We'll just put it like that. So I noticed she would always want to meet for lunch, which was no problem because, like I said, it was right around the corner. But then I would notice every time she would want me to come upstairs. You know what I mean? And come get her from the office and shit. And then first I was thinking, well, maybe she just kind of old school because she was older than me, right? You know what I'm saying? She was like 10 years older than me. So I was 24, she was like 35, something like that. So I was like, well, maybe she old school, she's Southern, she just want to be walked downstairs to the car. But then over some time, I realized, okay, she always asks me this every time I'm leaving the gym too. You leaving the gym, your veins popping and shit. And this one I was like, oh, she just want to show me off in front of the office, in front of the other office chicks and shit. Because
So
I would
peace.
have to walk, because she was like the senior VP, right? It wasn't a big office. It was a little satellite office. It was maybe 12 people that worked there, but still, that's you still walking past 12 people. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to go all the way to the back into her big office. So I would have to come in there and, Grant, I'm coming there in some sweatpants and a, Nike fitted shirt or whatever the case is and shit. And but I noticed and shit, she would always wanted me to walk through and come get her. And we walked downstairs together. And then I got hip on game. I said, oh, you know what I mean? She just want the eye candy and shit to make the other bras jealous up in here, man. So, I started to peep that. But see, when you know you deep into this shit, man, I used to get so much attention from women at one point. That shit gave me real anxiety, dog. I mean, like real shit. Because I would just want to go to the post office without the hassle and the fuckery and shit. Like real talk. And it started to become annoying. I could be out with my daughter at the park, just doing my 1-2, and some of that shit. But prior to that, you know, I understood where I was coming from. I was coming from the skinny kid from Baltimore with the stutter and shit. And then as I got back from Iraq a couple times, building up the body, building up the confidence game, I'm just coming back a brand new person. I'm coming back, just a soldier at this point. I'm walking like a soldier. I'm talking like a soldier. I'm walking with my head up. I'm all of this type of shit, right? So I wasn't even used to that kind of attention. You see what I'm saying? I was always had my girlfriends. I was always able to get sex. That never was a big thing. But I'm talking about the other side of that coin and shit, where you can't even leave out the house without some kind of sexual advance from a woman and shit. That shit started to give me anxiety until it just kind of wore in, you know what I mean? And then, I started to realize what it is. I started to realize like, okay, women want the same thing we want and shit. You see what I'm saying? So every guy won't get that experience. I understand that. But and that's why I always tell guys, man, the biggest difference between those years and the years prior was the body game. I mean, I always got the same face or whatever. I always had the same personality and shit. But the biggest difference was the body game, man. Like, no bullshit, man. That was the key. That was the key. And I think a lot of dudes, man, they kind of sleeping on that right there, man. The body game was key, though.
And that's a really good point. I know you're about to chime in, Ron. But I was going to say to your point when you mentioned that space and time where you transition into the next level of your development, and you notice how you got the looks even when walking outside. So imagine being put on display, literally on a stage in front of women, or on a party bus in front of women, or in private residences in front of groups of women who are there to absolutely objectify you. I know it sounds like, oh, boo-hoo for you, but on the other side of that, that does start to play a game with your psyche. Like, and I hear this a lot from entertainers. Damn, is this all it is? Is this all that I mean to women? And that's why you develop a character. And what's interesting is, as select men, you have to develop the same kind of mask that a woman has to develop. It's sort of like a split personality, because you know that they're women that only want you for one thing. And I know it sounds funny and it sounds weird to a lot of guys, but yeah, there's a lot of women that only want you for one thing, and you have to check your ego. You have to check your pride and understand that she's coming for this thing. And if you try to, if you misread that and you get off of your feelings and you come with something else, you can have your ego hurt or destroyed, even as a pre-select or select man. And most people, they can't even quantify what that even means. Yeah, there are a lot of women, especially women who have position of power. I can tell you stories about CEOs. I can tell you stories about office
Mm-hmm.
managers, scientists, doctors,
Mm-hmm.
judges, okay,
Mm-hmm.
politicians. I won't name names, but politicians who want men for a certain thing. Women have
Yeah,
rosters,
yeah.
and the caliber of woman that she is, the higher the caliber, the more elaborate her roster of men becomes. But another part of it is your ability to keep your ego in check, but also your ability to be discreet with it. And that's where that mask comes in. If you can be discreet, then you'll find yourself in more spaces than even select men, because a select man who doesn't understand um, social graces, who doesn't have a high social IQ, who doesn't understand how to move in certain spaces, which is why you need to be gamed up by wiser men who have seasons on them, who have been where you could probably go. You wouldn't know how to move and to properly operate, and you find yourself being rejected, you find yourself being kicked out, and you'll have this conflict. Like, dang, I know I worked hard on my body, I know I look good, I know there are women that desire me, but why do I keep crashing and burning? So that other piece is understanding yourself, being self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
understanding, and this is what I teach guys. Shout out to the Hot House. Uh, your presence, being aware of your presence. You can be a short guy who's select.
Mm-hmm.
You can be the average height guy who's select.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
Yeah.
be a taller guy. I separated fox, pit bull, and stallion. Know your presence and know how
Mm-hmm.
to move in a space where you can carry your weight around. You know how to hold your muscular frame. You know how to project yourself if you're a smaller man of stature. All it is like you say all the time, C Boogie, how to calibrate your dom game, how to calibrate your masculine energy, calibrate your presence in order to move around in different spaces.
Mm. Hey, that you said so much there, man. No, trust me, being discreet and understanding that a lot of stuff that people think is flipped once you reach that certain level. Seriously, you learn how to be quiet. In fact, women check you on that. They check for that. I'll never forget when one woman, when I was working in the gym, and she was a co-worker, and she was talking about cheating and all of that stuff. Not even mentioning herself, but the gym I was at, it was a cesspool for cheating, to be honest with you, right? And I said, all I did was say, well, if I did something with somebody, wife or something, I'd be very quiet. Nobody would know anything. She looked me dead in the eye and said, I would cheat with you. Look me dead in the eye. And I was married at the time too. And I remember another player in there. He said, Ron, yeah, you can tell these women you married all you want. One gonna come with a plate and tell you they don't care you married. Come seriously, man. And I mean, that's a big thing. That's why, like, you get some cats at the lower level of the game and like receipts and show this. I was like, you gotta be careful about showing stuff. You gotta
Right.
be real cool with the women, because let's just say there's some women they don't want to be on here. In fact, I've talked to some women. I say, hey, you want to go on a video with me? They're like, no, no, don't even think about it. And
And
they're
Yeah, we
not
got a
even with
question.
anybody, but sometimes they just want to do one thing and keep it there. Because one thing about this world, sometimes the women all they want is sex. That's all they want. You get some women out there, they'll deal with a guy for a little bit, go out with them, but they waiting. They doing that 90-day thing, not having sex with them, being cool. And the guy might think he got a good woman, but as soon as he drop her off at our house, pull out of the parking space, some other guy come into that same parking space, go in there and tear her ass up. Cause see, that's the part of the thing too. You see in the other side of a woman. In fact, you seeing women at their best. In fact, I was talking with a woman last couple nights ago. We were just shooting the breeze, talking and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, okay," because she's definitely interested. She made it clear. I was like, "What is it about me?" She said she can be free around me. That's an important thing, because once you're at that certain level, you don't have to ask a woman to be this or that or what you pretend or what you want to make you feel good. You say, "Look, you can be free. You can do whatever you want." I told some women that I I think I took a couple days to recover. They were in there, get bite marks and everything. I was like, shit.
So
But
we got a couple questions real quick, Rom.
yeah,
Andre Davis, thanks for the super chat. It says, well, I'll let both of y'all answer the question. Matter of fact, what does raw masculinity energy come from, and is it from your mind or body? Thank you, Andre Davis.
well, from my view, is really it comes from your body. It's the energy that you already have within you. All men have it within them, but we live in a culture which people in my circle call the machine culture that stamps down on that energy. It's just a matter of letting it flow. Because even with the body game, it's more than just aesthetics. It's to give you that energy to let it flow. And what your mind does, it's like a flame, it's like a flamethrower. That energy is the fire. Your mind directs that energy. So you can think you want it and think and say, yeah, I'm masculine, but you got to actually be able to do the work. You actually got to be able to do something. And that's a key part of it because it's that vitality. In fact, when I talk about 3 levels of a select man, what do I say? The body, the charisma, and the masculinity. That masculinity is actually the more powerful thing. That's why, it looks matter and all of that. That's good for a bait. But if women can feel that energy, boom, and to give guys an idea about that is think about when you're around a woman who's truly feminine. Fellas, y'all been around that woman, and she might not even look like all that. She don't look like no IG model, but you just chilled. You just feel it. It's like it's dripping. I've seen some women, they be in sweats or something, but they dripping that feminine energy. It's boom. And I bet you the women in the chat know exactly what I'm talking about. So when you have that energy, and that energy, I say, visibly going to manifest in how you walk, how you move. Are you moving like slow, like you defeated, or are you moving with purpose, like you own the planet? Do you work? Are you moving like you can like kick some ass if you need to? Are you moving like with your head up, your shoulders back, and everything, with a pep in your step, as they would say in the hood? Are you doing all that? All of that is energy, but you got to have the physicality in order to do that. Because you can think it all you want. Hey, that's great, but you actually got to be able to take action. Because the nature of masculinity, nature of masculine energy, whether it's in a man or a lion or a termite, is to establish control over its environment. That's why I always recommend every man should have their own spot, his own things he control as best as possible in this world. So and that's my view. I mean, what do you say about it, Cousin Tito?
Yeah, I like that description, and I know C Boogie hates it when I go too cerebral on it. All right, he'll want guys coming here talking about Kemet, but
No, you good. No, you good, dog.
what some people know, I studied neuropsychology. That was going to be my my get down or whatever. But basically, in that science, in the science of the mind, consciousness is described as the intersection of 3 things. Okay. First is awareness. All right. The second is arousal. And the third is output. Okay. This is for neuroscientists. This is their definition of what makes consciousness. So those 3 elements coming together in a formed man means that he's achieved consciousness. That's basically what we're talking about. When you are self-aware, when you understand the power of arousal, which is the space that we're in right here, and you combine that with your output, what do you produce? What do you bring to a setting? What is your vocation? What is your value? You'll get more than the thug, and you'll get more than the banker. Okay, you will get an abundance because you have control over your body, in the sense of the body is the vessel of masculinity, but the mind is the portal for that masculinity to be projected towards the type of women that you desire. You're gonna get a lot of women that you may not desire, and that's cool. You'll learn how to let them down easily, right? A lot of a woman's game is how to reject guys in a nice sense. And smart women understand how to channel her femininity in order to manipulate a guy, or to help have him help her in her journey. That's a woman with a higher social IQ. But the same thing goes for a guy. the more you understand about mature masculinity, the more you understand the value of a roster. But when you're in that, and I use the term alpha beta, I have it described in, it's defined in my book. But when you embrace that alpha energy, which is just first, that's all alpha means. You're the first to go into that burning building. You're the first into a firefight. You're the commander. But the more you're able to harness that, it's basically coming down to women understand your leadership capability, and they'll fall in line automatically, even if it's just for that night.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. Hey,
Yeah, we got another question up here too, fellas. It says, I'll let both of y'all answer this as well.
oh,
Super chat Aces in the Hearts. It says, how does a select man learn these social skills without getting burned or put in a ultimatum situation?
well, he probably need to learn those social skills even beforehand, because a lot of times I talk about the physical side of the select. I talk a lot about that because a man needs to develop that first. But to really get there, you still need social skills. One thing that the top select guys know how to do, he knows how to get it past a woman's defenses, and it's definitely social. Now, as far as learning social skills, period, there's only really one way. You got to go out there. You're going to have to get burned. That's not a bad thing. You need to be put in an ultimatum. You need to take a woman on a date and be her Uber to take her over to the guy's house that she actually wants to have sex with. Seriously, she'd be like, "Oh, that's just my cousin," right? Or something like that. The key is to learn from each experience and then know you don't have to do it again. Every single thing, especially the bad stuff, will actually teach you better. Being rejected will teach you better, because you got to figure out, okay, what was it I did that got me rejected? Then once you figure that out, boom. And that's all. I mean, seriously, you just got to go out there and experience it. Just don't dwell on it when you get burned or something. Because trust me, I got some stories. I got some stories about getting burned. I know about that, but at the same time, I learned from it. And then when I came across the next woman doing the same thing, I was like, let me cut her off. I already know this is coming. And then you get to the point that you can even read women. Now, that's something I don't talk about publicly. I don't talk about it on his YouTube streets. Too many people steal stuff. But a big part of what I got is how to read the women and putting them into categories and stuff. I know T-Tar did when we at that after party for the self-improvement summit. We sitting in the club. He's like, yeah, she gonna do this. Yeah, she gonna do this. Oh yeah, that's the queen. It was like, damn, he's accurate. But seriously, but you got to get out there. That's all you got to do. You got to get out there. You can't stay home. It's not something you read in a book. You got to talk. You got to pay attention to the woman's reaction. Then after a while, it's like, boom. You get to the point where they don't even say anything, and she giving the signals or something. Like she might be walking in front of you or something, and just very subtly pull up her shirt so you can get a full view of her ass or something, or like something I talked about. I think it was on a car video or something. I'll never forget. It was recent because it was just blatant. Me and my son's walking into a grocery store. There's a woman in the parking lot putting some stuff. She had a short dress on, and she is, for some reason, taking her time in the trunk while we walking by. She didn't even look at us. And her dress just conveniently lift up, showing her underwear. And I'm thinking to myself, she wasn't really putting anything away, because I saw her from a distance, and I said she had time to put that away, get in her car or something. But she knew. And a lot of women will do that. They'll subtly show their sexual signals and stuff. I think I talked about it on my Patreon, but they subtly show that. But after you deal with them enough, you start being able to read those subliminal signals, how they talking and everything. In fact, in Cousin T-Tar's book, The Seduction Scriptures, he tell you how to even look at their clothes and tell what's up with them. And that's a powerful thing. But the only way you're going to learn this, and especially how women going to interact with you, is to go out there. You just got to do it. It's like one of those things. We can give you all the advice in the world. We can tell you this and that, but you still got to go out there and see how it works for you.
Absolutely. And you made a great point. I say this all the time. We're in a space where most young guys have just an overwhelming abundance of information from experienced, seasoned men who are the sum of consciousness. If we put those elements together, once again, awareness, arousal, and output, okay? The three of us all have the evidence of consciousness. When you learn how to face your fears, right? With C. Boogie's book, right? And you combine that with the seduction scriptures, and you combine that with understanding nice guys and players, you have a catalog of experience, a catalog of information, a catalog of resources that you can draw from. We wish we had this when we were your age. We wish we had this opportunity just to log in, pull up, and dial in just to listen, to get this information, years and years and years worth of information that's been tried, tested, and proven to have results, to yield results. We wish we had some of that information, but at the end of the day, you have to get in there, you have to get out there and get the reps in. Repetition is what brings, your resilience, and it translates into multiple facets of your life, be it success with women, be it success in your entrepreneurial endeavors, be it success with creating inroads in the type of relationships that produce value in your life. You're going to have to face those repetitions. But what happens is, the other side of it, you start to look for those repetitions. You start to look for opportunities to learn. And that's a part of being a man. That's when you've arrived as a man, when you look for the challenges, when you look for your mission, when you look forward to growth through challenges, because on the other side of it, you got a reward. But not only that, that once you get the reward, the work is not done. That's how men are built. We are built to carry out missions. We are built for repetitions. That's why our minds are designed the way that they are. That's why our bodies are designed for labor. Our bodies and our minds are designed for trial and error and repetitions, and to get better and more refined the further we go in our season.
Yeah, you caught my attention when you said that last comment, right? Because that's really what the dime game, is really about, man. Just dominating every facet of your life, man. It's not about. A lot of people think I went, in a different direction with that, and yeah, you know what I mean. It's some bedroom aspects to it, but that I used to talk about a lot more, but I kind of put that on the back burner because I didn't want people to get caught up right there and not thinking that I don't dominate every other facet of my life and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, motherfucker, I put that same energy into everything I do. But when you testing your dime game, in terms of dealing with women, it's like, dog, stop dealing with easy pussy all the time, man, and challenge your dime game. You know what I mean? That's the only way you're going to see who you is. I mean, I don't give a damn if you got a rotation of 5 scuttle buckets, man. That means nothing to me. I would rather for you to come out and show me one beautiful woman that's on your program that respects you. You get a lot more respect from me than coming up with 5 scuttle buckets with low self-esteem, and they can't even keep their head up for 15 seconds because they didn't, you know what I mean? They just feel like shit about themselves. I mean, that means nothing to me. You see what I'm saying? Like, for me, I like a little woman with some pizzazz. You know what I mean? Because I can kind of get a little comfortable with it, and I can bring out all my skills within my Swiss Army knife and shit. I don't always like a woman that's just meek or that's just too shy. And like, no disrespect to the other brothers, man, but like, I like a female, that's educated. Like, I like a woman with some accomplishments and shit like that. That way we can have a real goddamn conversation and shit. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I bumped across some very sharp women in life and shit. And it did nothing but bring the best out of me. Even if those situations didn't always pan out, I've never walked out of these situations feeling less than, like, I just look at it as a compatibility issue. We just ain't compatible at this time for whatever reason. But my thing is, man, you got to test your dime game. You might see a woman that you may find very beautiful and shit. And for whatever reason, you done psych yourself out and thinking she ain't feeling you, man. If you don't walk up in her face, man, and just work your mojo, man, that way,
Mhm.
you could pop your cherry. I
Yeah.
call it popping your cherry and shit. You could pop your cherry with the beautiful woman, and kind of get over those nerves because it could be nerve wracking. What's going on, Donovan? It could be very nerve wracking approaching good looking women. Because all good looking women not going to send you choosing signals and shit. You know what I mean? A lot of them just don't really want to be bothered with because, what I mean? A lot of them get approached a lot or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? She might have a migraine that day or something. Who fucking knows? But you're not always going to get the choosing signals thrown at you. So sometimes you out there just winging it, but just having that trust and confidence in yourself that fuck that. I'm the man for the job. I mean, just period, man. That's my thing. So, stop always going for the easy pussy. Because I tell you this, if you got it easy, the last 12 guys got it easy too. And you don't know who this woman is, when the last time she got tested for STD. You don't know if her boyfriend is some nigga in Rikers Island that busts his hammer. You know what I mean? You don't know these things. You see what I'm saying? So, dog, I'm glad T-Tar said that, man, because that's very underrated, man. You have to. That's the only way. I mean, can you honestly call yourself a player or a P or um a alpha if all the women you dealing with is low tier? I mean, just their mind isn't any on any kind of higher vibration and shit. You talk about secrets of Kemet, she don't even want to watch Sesame Street. You see what I'm saying? Her mind is not even on Sesame Street. Fuck Kemet. You see what I'm saying? No, dog. You know what I'm saying? You got to test your shit. You know what I mean? That woman that you've been psyching yourself out that you think you can't get, man, if you don't get up in her goddamn face, that's everybody homework tonight, motherfucker. When you, for real, everybody got homework, man. When you see that beautiful woman and shit, dog, she probably been waiting for you to say something too.
Well,
And
let me get into that, man. Let me get into that. Let me, since we on here and I'm in a good mood, dudes got to stop putting those women on a pedestal. They lonely this good because I'm gonna tell you what. So many dudes and so many knuckleheads, many that scared to talk to them or come with some dumbass game or come with their wallets in their hand. You could go up to those real beautiful women and just be like, "Hey, how you doing today?" And they love it. And you could just sit down, just get them talking and stuff. They so happy that somebody just treat them normal. Shoot, they'll be like just chatty and stuff. After a while, you be like, "Damn." I'm serious, and you'd be surprised what they into. I still remember a very beautiful woman. She in her late 40s now. We still Facebook friends. She didn't want to hit me to the X-Files and stuff. And I've had women talking about all types of things. Very beautiful. But see the thing, and they always tell me the same thing. They say, "God's scared of them." They say, "Ron, you don't act like you scared." I'm like, all right, you were blessed genetically, but you still got a brain and everything. And on that level, so you hit them on that emotional thing, you just be cool with them. Shoot, they be ready to give you the 90 because they comfortable with you, believe it or not, because everybody else acting stupid. And then when we talk about the 90, actually beautiful women, their 90s work better because they're in healthier shape. So they actually hornier. Or and you don't need to look as good as them. Some guys think you need to look good to get them. I mean, it helps. But shoot, as long as you presentable, they good with that. Cause like one woman, a very beautiful woman told me, she said, we get married, had kids, my looks had to carry us through. I was like, and she told me that, but I was cool. Nah, she was like 5'10", light skin, light eyes. If she honestly, if Instagram was around at the time, she'd have a big following and she could just be walking around in some regular t-shirt and jeans. That's how fine she was. But and meeting her, all I did, I would see her jogging. So I saw her one time. She was in front of her house. I just say, "Hey, how you doing? What's up?" And me and her were cool. Me and
And
her were cool. And she was extremely down. When I say extremely down to earth, because that's a big thing too. Guys think these real beautiful women, some supermodels want to go all these places. Sometimes they just want to go to a bookstore and chill with you or something. A regular movie or something. Don't put them on a pedestal. Yeah, they look good, but shoot, they got a brain, they got a personality, they got a working vagina. All those things need some attention.
and you brought up the essential part of uh, becoming a masculine master and embracing that journey of select. That is weeding out the women who are not on your mission. And that's one of the most difficult things that guys have a hard time doing. And it's one of the most beneficial things that you can learn in life. Most guys are, if they see a beautiful woman, they see a pretty face, they see a dime, they see an 8, 9, and 10, and she actually gives them a look or gives them attention or gives them play. They think they're in there like swimwear. And a lot of guys are willing to put up with so much trash just because a woman is attractive. Where does she fit in your mission objective? Where
Exactly.
does she fit in that lifestyle that you're building and that legacy that you're putting together? How does she bring value to your space? And so many women get away with just their presence being the value, and that's okay if that's what you have her on your roster for. But understand, mission first, mission always. I can't tell you how many beautiful women and attractive and intelligent who were just not on my program, who are just not a part of my mission trajectory. And I tell them too, and I tell them all, and they, it is so funny. Every time we get to a point in our interactions when I say, hey, this is my mission. This is what I'm focused towards. And again, guys, you can refer to the video that I put out, what to do when a woman proposes to you. Yeah, guys, yeah, hard to believe, but there are a lot of men that get proposed to often. You just have to understand how a woman proposes to you. She will propose marriage to you, and she will try to set up the ecosystem within your environment so that all you got to do is fall asleep and you wake up with a wedding ring on. That's why it's important to understand and always be mission focused, because at the end of the day, when you're in this space and when you get on your hygiene, you get on your grooming, you get on your fitness, now it's all about embracing why you are here in the first place. And that is something that supersedes any attractive woman, your roster of women, your circle of friends, family, anything else, your job, employment, your education. Your mission, your reason for being here in the first place should supersede all of those things. But having the abundance mentality means you're willing to let that dime piece go. You're willing to let that 8, 9, or 10 fall by the wayside, and being okay with that, and being secure in your solitude enough to be okay to let go of the wrong woman.
Exactly. I got to piggyback on that. Yeah, you got to be what your plan is, and does she fit into it? Is she an asset or is she a liability? It's just that simple. I don't care how fine she is, how much she backed that thing up, gorgeous, how much other guys are going crazy over. If she's a headache, you got to let her go. Trust me, I dealt with some fine ass headaches. I mean, there was one time I saw a woman, I met a, this when I was still married. I was vending with my my co-parent now, right? And I saw this badass sister. Man, she was, because I had met her before. In fact, this sister she had met when I was vending at a fashion show, and she was 5'10", real pretty, killer body, right? But we had talked, and I just didn't feel that vibe with her. Okay, fine. Saw her later when I was with my ex-wife. My ex-wife was like, "You didn't hit that?" Like, damn, even she saw that. That was just like, the vibe wasn't there. And I've had a couple people say that about some women that I knew, and I just said, "No, we just cool," because she would have been an asset. The vibe wasn't there, because once you get to a certain point, you see one dime, your energy. Let me go deep. Your energy is such that you'll run into another one without trying. Like where I'm at now, just where I live now, there's several spots I can go to and I'll see some dimes, whether it's the gym, whether there's a Sprouts in my area, so it got a better class of dime there, or at least women in the 8 to 10 range. I put it like that. Dimes can be rare, but I can see them there or whatever. So if that one ain't for you, you just get someone else. And I ain't gonna lie, if a woman's cool, she on my program, I'll get down to a 7 or as low as a 6. If she's on my program, she got to be on my program totally. Because after a while, because I'm older than when you younger, yeah, get all you can, within reason. But you get older, you about program then. You about the program. Well, halfway about the program. They at least got to have a fat ass. I ain't gonna lie.
Listen,
I'll compromise the face. I will compromise the face, and I don't have a problem compromising the face. I don't compromise the body. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm trifling that way. I can't compromise. She still got to have either a butt dunk or at least a nice tight body. I'll deal with a slim woman for a little bit, but
again,
man, like the good thing though, excuse me, that a lot of guys can realize too, man, is as you do get older, you know, for a lot of women, their criteria change. So, I mean, obviously, for if you're still in high school and you listening, excuse me, the average young girl in high school, yeah, she want most of the traits gonna be physical, 98, 99%. They not even mature yet in their mind. They not thinking about nothing long term. It's gonna be very physical and shit. Yeah, they want the high school quarterback.
Okay, there we go.
Or they want the brainiac guy that still look good and shit. You know what I mean? And he's halfway athletic and shit. That's just the reality. Like even in college, you know what I mean? But as we get older, you start to realize, things start to smooth out. So, and then the women been through some things, you know what I mean? They a little bit more seasoned and shit. And their lives start to get put in perspective too, man. So for a lot of dudes, man, it's just never over in your journey. That's my thing. It's never over in your journey, man. A lot of dudes, and I brought that up because I believe a lot of dudes is caught up from their high school days. And high school can be very brutal. And that's why, I kind of tell the kind of stories that I tell to let dudes know, nigga, I'm the living embodiment of self-improvement and shit. Imagine going through high school with a fucked up speech pattern and shit. Nigga, I was fighting all the time because motherfuckers had jokes. And going to inner city school, that's rough. That's rough. You know what I mean? But, the point is, you work hard at it, to get over it. You don't give up and just, say this is what life gonna be for me or fuck everybody else. Nah, man, if you put in the blood, sweat, and tears to fix whatever deficiencies that, you can fix, some things you can't, but life could be greater later. I think a lot of dudes just giving up, man. And my thing is once you lose your will to fight as a man, dog, what else you got to live for? I mean, seriously, besides TV and watching Power, like what else can you actually wake up in the morning and be motivated to do, man? So for a lot of guys, man, just keeping that fire inside you, keeping that will, to get control over your life and shit like that. And understand that some guys take the elevator, some guys take the stairs in life. But either way, we can get to the same destination. That's my thing. You know what I mean? Either way, we can get up in that executive suite all the way at the top. So it's all on how you want to look at it, man. If you see this fucking water bottle half full or half empty, man, it's about how you want to look at it. So for me, I got a leadership style that I'm not here to hold a man's hand through this, but I understand. I'm gonna run this shit like Camp Lejeune or Fort Benning. We're gonna break you down to nothing. But if you can make it to the end, the build-up phase, and when you get to that graduation day of Ranger School, can't nobody tell you a motherfucking thing because you all lap. You just gotta make it to the end. Everybody don't make it to the end. And a lot of people forget life is one big weeding out process. From the time you was a kid, man, it's just one big weeding out process. So I'm like, dog, if a person can't make it through 2 or 3 of my videos, imagine what's going to happen on this concrete. Because a lot of these women are very ruthless, especially if they ain't attracted to you. Especially if you be all in the hood looking for these little chicks in the hood and shit. Some of them get in your face and say, nah, fuck out of here, your breath stink or whatever. And, you sitting there, your ego in your hand and your pride hurt. Or some women that just tell you straight up, I don't like the way you look. Or even worse, some women that look a man square in the eyes and say, man, your dick small. As soon as you get out the pussy. So, on the concrete, things can be very savage and ruthless and shit. And you can't let it get the best of you, man. It's about getting better, or it's about dealing with women that's suitable for your condition. If you know that you very sensitive to the world, you know what I mean, to what people think and things like that, then you ought to know some women off limits, man. You know what I mean? You might have to get with a more shy woman, a more soft spoken woman. There's nothing wrong with that, knowing who you are, but
Mhm.
I just think a lot of dudes, man, their frustration comes from the more mental aspect of dealing with women and the psychological damage that the women did. Because as men, even even a nasty divorce, let's say you've been through that, well, that money you lost, you can always make that money back. You dig?
Mhm.
You can always get the material possession back, but it's the psychological damage that has been done that can stick with you for life. You know what I mean? Women got a way of breaking a man down to nothing if you let them. And that's why I don't underestimate women, man. I've seen some of the best women. Well, not best. I've seen some of the worst women at the top of that game with their fuckery, man. Breaking men down. They do that. Especially men that they see the soft spots and the angles on them and the chinks in their armor. They're going to use that. Women can't overpower men. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If it's a fight, we're going to get them every time. So they use this. And they use this a lot of times, man.
Yeah.
And they understand as men, especially black men, since we got our egos on our sleeve, and if you don't leave that ego at home, she gonna use it against you, man. So I see what a lot of these women are doing, man. That shit can really be, you know, mitigated or even eradicated, depending on if the men are moving in unison. But a lot of dudes, man, they continually want to drive out their lane. You know, they want to deal with women they got no business dealing with because they don't really know themselves. Once you know
Mhm.
yourself, dog, life is just a lot easier.
And you
And I
brought
don't.
up a really good point.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Really good point about a man knowing himself. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I make sure I drive home first, because in my space, when you deal when you're dealing with entertaining women with your body, you have to know who you are. And that's why on the Patreon side, I make sure that guys understand they're different size guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when you talk about the lane, there is a type of mentality and energy for every size guy. And I get down to the brass tacks. Okay, if you're this size guy, you need to pursue this type of woman, or this is how you navigate understanding the type of women who are compatible with you. Not every
Mhm.
woman is compatible for a tree swinging dude, and that's okay. And the most overlooked aspect of masculinity is uh, the basics. And the basics is understanding who you are physically and mentally. And a lot of our
Mhm.
egos are tied to the size of our member. I'm just going to put it out there. And when you don't have an open and honest conversation about what is your relationship with your member, I'm just putting this out there as an example, then you've got this whole blind spot. You got this whole blind spot, and women are just putting up with you. Certain types of women are just putting up with you. And that's for every guy. You can have 12 inches, you can have 6 inches, you can have 3 inches. But as long as you know who you are and what your relationship with yourself, your manhood, your masculinity is, and the type of woman that you are compatible with, you good to go. Because not every woman wants that huge guy. Most women want the average guy, but there are women who can only take the smaller guy, believe it or not. Okay. And that comes from, you know, men who have been in situations with women who did not want to have sex with them because they felt that they were too big for them. Okay. But it all takes having conversation with men who have that experience and who can have you be comfortable with who you are, because a lot of men's egos get crushed and just worlds get shattered because they have that blind spot of not embracing who they truly are. And like you say all the time, not searching for that lane of women who are compatible for who they are. I'm in a business where the first job interview requires that you get naked. Okay. And then the manager of the club or the manager of the people who set up the parties will let you know, okay, well, this may not be your lane, but you can do this. Okay, you can do this other thing. It's the same thing with women. understanding the type of women that are compatible for you physically, you mentally, your mission is so essential. But that's all a part of this journey of masculine mastery. But
Mhm.
I think that's a underrated and under discussed component of it. Our journey is through our pipes, through our dicks. Let's just be clear. Women, their journey is through their hair. Okay, that's a whole other conversation for another day, probably for the women's channel. But our relationship with our manhood is one of the fundamental parts of our journey and understanding how to navigate spaces with that. For women, their relationship with their hair is essential to their journey. They go through the short period, the styling period. For Black women, the perming period, trying to embrace their natural hair. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But I'm just saying, our relationship with our physical presence is an important thing to grab a hold of. And spaces like this is so important because it allows other men, especially younger men, to have another perspective of experienced guys who have had a range of women who are giving them honest feedback so that we can then in turn give honest feedback to other men so that they don't have as much of a blind side. Every man's going to have the ego, but how do you manage that? And that's one of the most important aspects of navigating this thing called life as a masculine master.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we got a question here.
Yeah, we got a question from Weird, um, whatever it is. Weird, thanks for the follow super chat, brother. It says, as a young man in this society, how do you stop viewing females like sexual objects and switch this energy from something else? Um, well, I would say first and foremost, man, you gotta be grounded into something a little bit more higher than just maybe entertainment, rap music, videos, and even YouTube, man. Because a lot of times, man, that's kind of like the angle where a lot of that shit coming from, and they particularly target younger people for that kind of propaganda. You see what I'm saying? Because they understand y'all minds are easily, molded to think a certain way. But um, man, I would say, man, you know, spend some time with women where y'all got y'all clothes on, man, and you'll see the value in good
Mhm.
exceptional women and shit. You know what I mean? Like actually go out on a date or two and not just be so quick to bring them to your crib, man. Women, you know, man, they can bring all kind of value to your life, man. I've had women do my taxes, you know what I mean, and give me back crazy refunds, man. But I wouldn't have never knew if I didn't have that conversation with her and shit. You see what I'm saying? So it just all depends. Um, and for especially for me, a lot of things changed once I had my first daughter. Period. Like that's when I figured out what love was. When I looked that little girl in her eyes, man, and I seen nothing but innocence. You see what I'm saying? I was 23 years old, man, but that was straight up love. And at that moment, you're responsible for another life, but you realize, you know what? You start to ask yourself the question from time to time. Well, would I want somebody to do that to my daughter? So you got to watch. I try to watch what I say about women and how I carry things. And I've noticed a lot of the guys with the more extreme rhetoric, they don't have daughters. You see what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
I'm not going to speculate, but maybe the relationship is a little tarnished, man. But it's no man walking this earth that would want a man to just destroy the psyche of his child. He'd be ready to get the shotgun. So, you got to be careful too, man, and always try to be aware of certain things because look, I do want to see a community where we treat each other right. I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, beyond sex, beyond the dynamics between men and women, where we still respect each other, where we can live in harmony, where we can just be had just positive energy, man. And that's from the men and the women. A lot of women look at men as ATMs. That's it. Straight up. Nothing more, nothing less. How can they get over? You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't like that shit either, man. And the way the dating scene is, right now for a lot of people is who can get over on who first. Can she get the money out of him? Can he get the pussy out of her? And that's it. All that energy go into getting the one up. And it's like, man, by the time they done with each other, they so mentally and psychologically freaking drained from it. You see what I'm saying? Trying to find the angles and getting the other person instead of just keeping it tall, keeping it real with each other. So it's a lot of things, man, that I don't particularly like about what's going on between the men and the women. But I just try to play my part. But I'll let y'all answer that. But for me, quick answer, you know, a lot of things won't change until you have either a kid, especially a daughter, even to your significant other, and you see her actually deliver a baby through that canal and the pain and the strength she got, that gives you a new respect for women right there, dog. And they sitting there, and then that baby come out, and you damn near about to pass out because you're so weak. And you be like, damn, I don't think that I can do this once. And some women do that shit 3, 4, 5 times. And that ain't nothing but love, dog. So, I don't want to get too soft on y'all, but that's what my respect level for women changed when I seen the baby come out their stomach down and out of that vagina. I'm like, man, that's some strength, dog.
Well, you know what? We do get it because both my sons were birthed at a birthing center, so it wasn't a regular hospital. I was actually in the bed with their mother, like in the bed, like pulling her legs back, holding her while the baby was coming out. While she was screaming and crushing my fingers and everything. And it does give you a perspective. It does give you a perspective. But how you say how you stop viewing female like sexual object? I mean, she's human. I mean, just think about her as a person. Because if you can think of her as a person, then you can connect to her as a person. And trust me, that's a powerful thing. When you can make that connection, that gets over a lot of this other stuff. If a woman like you, just plain like you on that level, that gets you a long way. After a while, she starts getting turned on by you, right? But then it's not just the sex that you're going to deal with, it's the energy. Like I said earlier, it was some women that told me about some sites that's making me a lot of money now, or give me advice or like kept me out of trouble. One of the reasons I've never got majorly played for money in my life, because I had some of the women that people would call diesel or sex workers from the time I was little. They'll see something or see a woman, they take me to the side, say, no, not her. Don't do this, Rom. Don't do this. Watch for this woman. Watch for this activity. And I learned that from little, like from women who cheated, women who were sugar baby types, women who actually were in the game, so a few strippers. I was still a knucklehead though. I ain't gonna lie, I was still a knucklehead because I was listening to some guys who didn't know. But one of the things I did learn was how to stay out of trouble. I still had to learn some things on how to actually get the women, and got some here and there, not what I could have got, but they kept me out of trouble. Like women, like seriously, women would just take me to the side, so I always appreciated them. Even when they gave me some tough love or something, right? I still appreciated them and just saw them as human. And I think part of it was just growing up where I grew up, because see, Boogie, you grew up in Baltimore. I spent the first part of my life in Southeast DC. You saw women at their worst, but you also saw them at their best. Like I always said, and I said this in a video before, you never hear me say anything about butch lesbians. That's because a butch lesbian kept a predator off my ass. So, I was like, we cool. So, you just see them in a different light. Even some so-called bad women or something, because and BGS said this about diesel women. They will always find that one guy that they can be nice to and cool with. And that was always that guy. So I just saw them as regular people and stuff. And plus I accepted what they did. Shoot, even on occasion, I got a little bit of money out of it, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And basically, just to summarize what the both of you guys said, in order to avoid or to diminish your view or your viewing women as objects is to develop your own humanity. Your humanity as a man will sharpen your lens and broaden your purview in terms of how you view yourself, how you view others, but especially how you view women. And as you develop your humanity, you understand that everybody's different. Everybody has the potential to bring something of value to your space, or somebody has the potential to take away some of your or deplete your value. And so, as long as you look at everyone objectively, as meaning that you look at them as an opportunity instead of looking at her as a walking vagina, which is tough, especially if you're in your younger 20s. That's tough.
Mhm.
You grow into it. But my statement would be develop your own humanity, and that allows you to broaden your own lens of how you view other people.
Okay, real talk. Hey, I see
We got
this.
another one.
Can I answer this one?
Sure, man. Very well.
Yeah, 22, body game, social game. Damn, I still live with my parents. Yeah, so what? So what? Women like you enough, they'll pay for the hotel. My favorite time was 2 women 2 weeks straight paying for a hotel, 2 different women. Would have been 3 weeks, but the woman had her own place. So it's like if a woman want to get with you, she don't care. She ain't tripping over. She'll go half on a motel. She'll pay for it. She might invite you to her place. Y'all can work out something. And you say you 22. If you got a motor vehicle or something, find that like parking space someplace. You got to do what you got to do. Trust me, you got a lot of young people who live with their parents or something. Shoot. In fact, I remember I was over at one woman's house. We went in, she was living with her mother. As soon as we came in, her mother just got her stuff and went upstairs. So it's like, just do it anyway. Don't let that stop you. You don't know what's going to happen. Seriously, don't have a condition on it. If you feel like women checking out your body, you got social skills, just talk to them. You don't know what their situation is. And plus, when you growing up, especially when people were going out, a lot of times, even if it was a young girl living with her parents, and y'all fellas probably seen this, they'll tell you, oh yeah, their parents ain't home tonight. Come on over or something. I mean, you can go get that, Wait a minute. Hold up. You're asking men with Leighton. Well, they don't have to listen to us. We on a different type, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, man. It just kind of caught my attention.
What
But yeah,
is that?
like I say, man.
Can you define latent misogyny?
Yeah, probably just some troll, man. I don't even know what these dudes meant, man. But like I say, it's like your relationship with women, man. Change as you mature, man. Real talk, as you mature. Young girls can be very mean sometimes, especially the guys that they ain't attracted to. Young girls could, be very cutthroat with it. But as you mature, man, and expand your social circles, man, and just get out into the world and just meet a variety of women, you're gonna meet your headaches, you're gonna meet your good ones, man, and you know, can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, man, just because you met a couple bad ones, man. There's plenty of decent women out here, man, even if you ain't sleeping with them, man. Straight up and down. And they could be resources and of value, man. It's all on how you want to look at them and shit. See what I mean? Straight up and down. But really, depending on how much pussy you getting too, man. Like if you content with your sex life, if you're getting enough pussy, then you ain't gonna be walking around like a horny pit bull trying to hump on every woman you see, man. Like real talk. You know what I mean? But if you like always watching porn and you masturbating all day and shit, every dog, even a woman that's out shopping and at the mall and shit, man, and she's coming out the dressing room, you gonna be trying to tackle her and shit. You dig? So, you know what I mean? Some of that shit, man, like y'all gotta get up off that shit, man. Always in your mind with this shit. So, every woman I see, man, I'm not trying to just jump on her and shit. You know what I mean? Hey, how you doing? Keep it pushing. So, I think some people let their imaginations run wild with this too. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, where we at on time?
Let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said walking vagina, whatever you guys say, men are he said, whatever you guys say, men are biologically hardwired to find women. We didn't say we didn't. Let me be clear on something. Let me be clear. Because sometimes I get tired of some of the bullshit that I see on YouTube and stuff. We out in the streets telling you some real shit. If we go out there with the guys I call Pookie and Ray Ray thugs or masters of the universe, they know exactly what they talking about. They ain't some guys just sitting up like talking some shit online, but afraid to just go up and say hi to a woman. Seriously. You know, only time we don't get pussy or whatever the fuck we want is when we just don't feel like it at that moment. We just doing something else. Now, some guys need to like just get out their feelings, listen. We giving you the keys to the kingdom. Ain't no magic to it or anything like that. Hit the gym, get your damn fashion right, wash your damn ass and your face, and then just learn how to talk to women. Shit, the pussy will fall in your lap. If you just do those simple things, nothing complicated. All right.
Well, I think that speaks to the participation trophy generation. We won't go down that road. I know it. I know you steered away from that, C Boogie. But that's the residual effect of the 12th place trophy generation. Men are hardwired for competition. We're hardwired to compete, to be the best, and to make each other better. That's what tribes are about. That's what teams are about. And if we don't succeed, we're hardwired to figure out how to get better. Getting better fulfills us. Just like a woman in her femininity, she's fulfilled by fulfilling and satisfying a man that she's desired, or being of service to her community, or serving, the women, the people that she values. That's how we're hardwired and designed as human beings. We won't get too complex with the science of it, but at the end of the day, we are hardwired to compete and to get better and to champion the best. If somebody's better than a real man, he will acknowledge that. And if he wants to get where that other guy is, he's going to ask him, "Oh man, what can you tell me how to, in terms of how to tweak this or get better at that?" That's what we do with each other all the time when we're offline. We're texting each other. We're communicating. But that's what younger guys and other guys who are contemporaries do all the time in this space, and that's the value of it.
Exactly. Well, hello.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, like we're gonna go ahead and wind it down, for time purposes and shit. But I wanna go ahead and close it out, man, by just telling people, man, if y'all want more of this and talk to these guys personally, man, will be in your best interest to come to DC on March 7th. And
November 7th.
Shit.
And not March 7th the next year.
Yeah, I'm bugging. November 7th. I'm tripping. But yeah, like November 7th, man, that'll be in your best interest. And even if you just need an excuse to get out the house, like I say, man, I know a lot of people don't get out much and things of that nature, man. But that'd be a good excuse, man, to just get out the crib for a day or just for the weekend, man. You owe it to yourself, man. And you never been to DC, it'll give you an excuse to go to DC and just hang out, man. Just hit the town. I'm pretty sure all eyes won't be in DC around that time anyway, given the election is gonna be around that time. So, I think people owe it to themselves, man. But come out, man, experience some of that positive energy. You can ask all the questions you want. You don't have to super chat them. Come through. I'll feed you, get you right. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a thing, man. It's gonna be a ball. And hopefully, man, for the people that is on the fence about it, you email me. Just ask questions, man. Tickets and slots are moving quick, man. But I think everybody that went the last one, man, no complaints. They enjoyed themselves thoroughly. I enjoyed myself thoroughly when I was there. So, that's just the next phase of this thing, man. Is getting up off this internet, man, and actually getting out here and patting this concrete too. You know what I mean? Because really, all these questions could be answered in one night. You know what I mean? For real, for real. Like we go over this so many times, but I mean, it's nothing like just getting out, no pressure, and just having fun, man. You still got to live life. You still got to enjoy yourself, have fun. That's what I'm about, man, too. So, but I'm let Rom and Tita, man, close it out. They can promote their channels and everything they got going on. And after that, man, we gonna get up out of here.
Cool. Well, as always, thank you for having us here. Always a pleasure to come through. Shout out to the Dom Game Division. Great love and appreciation for your moderators. They always do a great job. Janelle Santos, shout out to you. All heart, grind, and grit. Big Ed Skaggs, Lando, GK, of course, Little Rock, and anybody I missed. But shout out to the moderators. You guys do a great job. Holla at theselectionscriptures.com. Of course, hit up Cousin Tita on Patreon, Cousin Tita, the channel on YouTube. We always got some crazy stuff going. A lot of stuff coming up in the near future, so look out for that.
All right. Hey, I want to just thank C Boogie for having me on, Cousin T-Tal for being on the panel. Want to thank the moderators and everything, and just want to thank the support, because we just try to we're trying to give y'all some power out here. We're trying to empower people. And even what I do, what we all do, is beyond just getting women. It's just about how to get through life, period. That you walking through like a man with some power. That's what I want to see, because I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I get feedback from people and they telling me how I inspired them to get a business started, or to, get their education, or to clean up their addiction to something. That does more for me than hearing what type of women the guy is getting. And I appreciate that. It keeps me going, because trust me, there's times I'm like, you know what? Why not just let them suffer? But then somebody hit me up and say, hey, Ron, this helped me out. And I was like, let me jump back into it and stuff. So I appreciate being here, appreciate talking. And, all I'm going to do once I get off here is get back to work. I'm editing videos. So, you know how I get.
Man. I always enjoy talking to you guys, man. It's always legendary style. Hopefully, I want to, put this out there in the universe too, man. I want to do another one of these panels, man, and we can talk specifically to the women, man. It's a lot of women, truth be told, that they want some answers, man. And no, real talk. I get a lot of these emails, and I got a pretty decent sized female subscriber base, and I just realized they want some real answers that don't involve us trying to fuck them and shit. Because the answers become a little different when you want to sleep with them sometimes. But like a lot of women want answers, real answers. They don't want to be dragged through the mud. They don't want to be, talked about. They just got real questions with real answers, and why not give them a healthy dose of, self-improvement as well. You know what I mean? I just want to see healthy relationships overall, man. I personally, man, my little time online, man, I gathered it's not a lot of people that's in a healthy space mentally, man. And even for some guys, they using women as a distraction from their own fuckery. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps them out of their own mind, to where as though they don't have to deal with themselves. And that's still an unhealthy place. You're still gonna be unfulfilled until you find your center, you find your balance and shit, and you kind of move from there. A lot of dudes, they have women around for the right reasons. For the wrong reasons. And that goes to the other brother's question about seeing women as more than sexual objects. Well, you got to ask yourself, why do you want them around you? You got to be honest about that. You got to be honest with the women about it. So, a lot of dudes, man, y'all making it real easy for a lot of dudes to eat out here, man, because a lot of dudes is telling stupid lies to women, and I just out here just fucking up, man. And I'd be like, man, I be hearing some of this shit from these women that dudes are doing, and I just shake my head like, this nigga really said that shit, man. But it is what it is, man. I'm telling you. So I be telling some dudes, as long as y'all keep fucking up, I'm gonna eat. As cold-hearted as that shit is to say, and I know it sounds fucked up, but it's real. Because you know why? Y'all niggas wouldn't take it easy on me. Up and down. Ain't like a nigga going to say, you know what? You know what I mean? I know Boogie fucking up. I'm going to cut him some slack. Nah, y'all going to find out it's me and go twice as hard. So a lot of this shit is dog eat dog, motherfucker.
That's it.
That's it.
Straight up. But on the real tip, man, I appreciate the good brothers for sliding through, man. And hopefully, like, we can do this again soon.
And we will.
Calm down. For,
Yeah.
on the ladies' side, or you just inviting the ladies over here?
Huh?
You gonna do it on the women's channel, or you gonna invite them over here?
I'll probably do it over here, man, because yeah, I can get it. I can get to a broader base by doing it over here. So yeah, man, a lot of women got questions and shit, man. So I
Now,
think
see, we get the women in here. Y'all gonna hear a different voice from Ron. I got a different when I speak to women, man. That's part of the game. This is talking to the fellas' voice, and some women might be listening. It's shoot. It'd be like, "Hello, ladies." It's like you're gonna do something different there. Now, I'll tell you something now with women. I love women because they entertain the hell out of me. Seriously, even when they being mad, because especially even when they talk some trash, because it depends on the energy how they talk trash. Because they can be like, "You nasty," and that's bad, but they can be like, "You nasty," and say, that's good. So I love them. I love them. I love them. Even when I'm doing some tough love, I love them. Even the knuckleheads. Well, I love them from afar. And I just say, hey, this is tough love. You need to get your shit together. So,
Hey, man, that's all it is, man. Tough love, man, but still coming from a good place, man. You know what I mean?
Well, they did it, man. Women kept me out of trouble. Seriously, women seriously kept me from getting played. That's the one game that I did pick up. Like I said, I was a knucklehead about some other shit. But when they told me, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that, and this is coming from the so-called bad women, I appreciated it. They kept me out of trouble.
Straight up, man. Hey, look, that's one thing life taught me. A lot of good people do bad things. A lot of bad people do good things in life, man, depending on the circumstances and shit. So, but that's a deeper conversation for another day. We ain't gonna go into that. But yeah, man, no doubt. But hey, thank you for everybody coming through. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all professionalism in the chat. And we'll see y'all again real soon. Peace.
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 All right.